Hey everybody, welcome to Culture Doom. This is episode 326. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Brendan.
My name is Alex. Hello.
So here's the thing, Alex. We have put out, counting the live stream last week, which if you missed it, you missed out on a big party with me and Alex and MJ.
And that's it.
Maybe
there's a fourth person.
You don't need to spread misinformation that we had a wildly unpopular live
Fake
stream.
news.
Fake news, Alex. Fake news. Whatever. Fuck that. Point is that we have put out 8 things this month. In the month of October, we have produced 8 full-length projects, and that's 2 a week.
Mm-hmm.
And we both have a day job.
Yeah.
And so this episode 326, this is going to be a super chill episode because I don't have it in me to do much more than that right now. Because Alex and I both have day jobs. We both have other shit going on. And for some reason, we shoved a bunch of shit into this month. And I'm tired.
Yeah. Like we've overworked ourselves in this job that we don't get paid for.
It's like so what I'm comparing this to is, do you remember The Best of Both Worlds parts 1 and 2?
Yes, like they were the perfect bookend.
And then the episode after that is Picard going to see his family on their wine vineyard.
Yes, which Picard had no interest in ever having a wine vineyard, and then he takes over the family wine vineyard.
Okay, yes. But my point is, it's a very, compared to the scale of what had come before it, it was very small and very intimate.
Yeah.
And so I propose, my partner in crime, that we do the same this week. That we do like super chill. We're not going to get too, I mean, we can get, invested in the topics, but I'm not worried about time. I'm not worried about making sure we get through certain topics or anything like that. It's just going to be just us hanging out, having a chat, kind of taking it easy this week. All right.
Right.
But speaking of us being super busy, make sure you go to our YouTube page and check out Season of the Sakura Chapter 3, which just posted today.
Oh.
For another hour. It's good. It's the Boobas episode. we have finally found Boobas in
animated still picture Boobas.
Yeah, that's not even. It doesn't even move. You're right. Just still 1990s JPEG or bitmap.
You know what? Somebody needed to enjoy that back in the day, and we were more than happy to go and bring that to the masses here.
I know. I enjoyed that back in the day.
Yeah. I still enjoy it.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
we will resume episodes of that. Obviously, we've committed to one full playthrough, which is 11 chapters.
Yeah.
Effectively every other week, but let's just say that there's not like a huge demand for us to continue producing those.
But it's fun because it gives us something to chill and hang out and have a fun time, especially now that we're heading into winter. And it's weird how I say it because this whole summer has basically been like a winter in which, if you go outside, I basically go outside to check the mail, and that's the extent of it and stuff like that.
When's the last time you went out for dinner or any meal and sat down in public?
Like in a restaurant?
Yeah, like in a restaurant. Has it been March? Was it like...
Did we go anywhere in February?
You and me?
Yeah, when you came down here.
Was that February that I was there?
I think so.
Yeah, we went to the bar in town.
Oh,
that first night.
The first night. It was Seven Saints?
Oh, we went there. No, that was that. We went there for lunch the next day.
We went to
the little pub, not pub, but the little like.
Final Tavern. Yeah,
I think I had fish and chips or something.
Yeah. It was a Friday night, so it was the fish and chips.
Yeah, Friday night was fish and chips.
Friday night fish. Good Catholic chips. Boy, you listen to your mother, and you're like, hey, you're remembering to have your fish and chips.
Any bonus points I can get, I'll take.
Yeah. And you were mildly entertaining to my son.
Just that? Just mildly entertaining?
No, very entertaining. He did have a good time with you.
I was like, oh.
Yeah,
I was wounded in my heart, Alex.
that's okay.
I spent
but
an entire like evening playing with your son, and I think Sunday morning also.
Yeah. He had a fun time. Once he warms up to you, he's always very fun.
Your wife sent me a very kind text message after that and said that she enjoyed it was I'm sure I told you this, but she said I really enjoyed watching you play with Nicholas, and I know you aren't sure if you want to have a child, but I think that you would be a great father. And it was a very kind. I got a little weepy-eyed. I don't mind saying. I got a little weepy-eyed reading that text from her. So it was a very kind text message. But according to Alex, I was just mildly entertaining.
He finds everybody mildly entertaining.
Whatever. We were having lightsaber fights.
Oh
no, yeah. We had pirate sword fights.
He did, yeah. He's been watching a lot of stuff. He apparently got in trouble at school the other day because my teacher said he poked another kid in the eye, so he had to go into timeout chair for like a couple times. But I think what he was trying to do is he was trying to do the Three Stooges.
Oh no! I told Alex. I told you. I fucking told you that was going to happen.
But I think what happened. The problem is that he doesn't know how to properly do it because the Stooges have learned how to do like vaudeville and do pratfalls properly and things like that. And when you slow down the footage, they don't actually poke the eye. It's more like they put the fingertips to their brow and then push forward. So it kind of looks like
he's not even 3 years old.
I know. I need to get working on that. That's my big thing.
Well, also to be fair, isn't the other kid supposed to put the hand up between their eyes to dodge or to
if
deflect?
You know that it's coming.
Yeah,
otherwise the other kid just stands there and takes it.
And Nicholas is like, "Hey, work with me here, man."
Trying to impress the girl.
Yeah,
he does have like a girl that kind
routine.
There is a girl at school though that apparently has an eye for him. So,
that's
nice. I think she's an older woman.
Oh,
very nice.
It's the Helen Mirren of the preschool.
So, did you hear about Cyberpunk getting delayed?
I did.
Time to bring it down.
It's like I did, but see, I'm not. I didn't realize that people were freaked out about the quality of this game.
Yeah, well, the people on Twitter have been kind of ballistic. I mean, there's been a healthy amount of people that are being level-headed about it, but then there's also a lot of people which were giving this story about, well, I asked for time off, and I was going to take the day off, and so was my wife going to take our day off, and we're going to play it. I'm like,
what the fuck? Are you babies?
You both need your own copy. Yeah, you both need fucking copies of the game to play it. It's not co-op. It's not multiplayer. So
are we seriously in a position where adults are requesting?
Yes. Well, you see the way some of these adults are basically collecting small plastic figurines in boxes, and they store them, and they think something's going to happen afterwards.
I have to be level. Being level-headed, I have to be fair about this. But then again, I have my toys that I'm happy that I have. Yeah. I have my Evangelion merch and Sailor Moon and certain other products that I acquired. Alex, didn't you bring me back Asuka from Japan? Didn't you? You got me Asuka. Yeah, the first time.
Okay, I don't remember that, but sure.
You ferried back a personal Asuka figure. It's probably Kyoto, I think is the manufacturer.
Oh, the Kyoto one? Okay.
Kyoto. Is it Kyoto?
Kyoto.
Kyoto.
K-I-K-A. Okay, yeah, Kyoto.
Kyoto. Anyway, point is that you ferried this.
Where did I get that one from?
You ferried this Asuka from Harajuku, Japan. You smuggled her across the Pacific back to me.
Had to declare for customs. I declared her on my customs card. My brother declared his Godzilla figure on his customs card. He's like, I don't care. They want me to put everything. I'll put everything.
They're like the customs are like fucking weebs coming back through. Just should have
fucking
stayed
weebs.
in Japan.
Should have gotten Ray. God damn it.
But so like I have my figures that I really am happy that I have. I do not have them on display. It's sort of like the museums who have their collections, and you see like there's a little bit out in the public, but there's a massive back.
The good stuff's back in storage.
The good stuff's in archives. You have to put on gloves to go look at it and file paperwork.
I would never want to get to the point where I'm somebody like Melon Pan and I just have glass cases with LED
Right.
lights spotlighting these like figures that are like $300, $400, $500 in some cases.
I also can see as someone who's grown increasingly kind of contemptuous of modern adult men taking the day off work to go see Avengers. I can kind of see why a adult female would turn into the Sahara Desert as soon as they find out that this guy that they're seeing has 20 anime figures on their shelf. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But so there are a bunch of men who are a bunch of adults who are disappointed because they requested off.
So because they were supposed to be, I don't know what the original release date was. It October? No, it wasn't October. I think it was sometime in spring. The game has been delayed multiple times, which, I mean, makes sense for a lot of games. Granted, however, this game itself has been, like I said last time, in development since 2012 with the initial, artwork, concept artwork and stuff and things. And it seems like they were going to release it this month, and then it got pushed back to November because they were under the crunch, things weren't working out and stuff like that. But then people were starting to notice that there's been changes to the game in terms of what we saw in footage from several years ago in a trailer, like at E3 or something, and then more recent trailers, and people were saying, well, it looks different, looks like cut content, whatever the case might be. And then the most recent thing, which was like yesterday or the day before, I think it might have been, 27th, 26th, where they said, well, we're delaying it yet again. I think this is like a week or two after they announced it, or there was some period of time. But in the statement that they released, it looked kind of weird because it seemed like there was some funky explanation for why they delayed it. And I think it had something to do where they were saying that they needed to start testing on multiple platforms to see how the game is running and stability wise. And that's not really reassuring, because this is stuff that you should have already had this in the pipeline for a while.
Well, one of the things that they said that was concerning to my layman eye/ear was that they kind of reframed the definition of going gold.
Yeah.
And since Halo 2, where I was actually, paying attention to game development, going gold was always the phrasing they used when you basically went into duplication or replication.
Yeah, you sent it all out to the or the disc pressing place, wherever it is.
Right, exactly. So you would create the master, and the gold master was what was being used to press, or at least the source, to create the copies for PC boxes, Xbox, PlayStation, GameCube, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now they kind of reframed it into like, well, it's 99.999% done, but that doesn't mean we can't do more.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a second. Shouldn't this be at the duplication place now?
Yeah.
To make especially the PC, or not the PC, the Xbox and the
physical
PlayStation games? Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're basically saying, they're shipping the game. Biggest challenge is ship the game on current gen, next gen, and PC simultaneously. It requires us to prepare and test 9 versions of it, which is Xbox One / Xbox S, compatibility on Xbox Series X. Why did
the Xbox fuck things up?
I don't know. PS4,
how did they not? Sorry,
they were just stupid. I think because the naming, the reason they named it 360 because it was going to be an all-encompassing social, online connected type of thing, which was great. There was fine. I think it was perfectly fine. It was like this globe. It's the whole premise behind it. But then they were like, well, how do we go from 360? We can't go 361 because that's how normal naming conventions have been, which was pretty much just PlayStation.
Well, that's my argument, is that the only person who used numeral Sony was ridiculed in the early days because they were so unimaginative, and it would just be PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64,
GameCube,
the
Wii,
you know what I mean?
U, which really fucked up a lot of people. They didn't know what the fuck that was.
So the Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, you know what I mean? Like, so those were
CD,
different. Sega CD was just an add-on. That's part of the Sega.
Sega 32X.
Those were all add-ons.
I
Those
know.
aren't consoles.
They pretended they were, though.
But so they should have just done like the Xbox, the Y box, the Z box, and then like the Alpha box. And they should have, instead of it being around X, it should have been around box.
Yeah.
Microsoft, call me.
And then
I'll take care of you.
They also want to have compatibility on PS5, PC, Stadia. Here's the thing. I'm surprised that they're even still doing Stadia because that's
Stadia is
basically
still a
just
thing.
Ouya, supposedly.
It's not an Ouya. That's not fair. It's that OnLive service.
Yeah.
What was that? That was that. Remember that one? I think it was called OnLive.
Mm-hmm.
It had like a little box that you would OnLive game system. Yeah, I remember this. Mm-hmm. This was like in the early. Well, like, apparently it just ended in 2015, but 2009 was when it started.
Right. So they basically said that, like, since they achieved Gold Master some time ago, what they're basically doing is that making sure everything's running, and they say that this is where they're trying to do improvements, which will probably be distributed via day 0 patch, which is standard. Yeah, it's standard par for the course, but, you know.
I heard it was like a 90 gig patch.
I wouldn't be surprised because people were shitting on Call of Duty, saying, you know, Call of Duty's like 100. I don't know. I think there was either like 100 or up to 150 gigs download, depending upon what version of the game you got. And people were going like, how they could do this with Cyberpunk and that. And then now it's like, well, everything is huge because you're trying to compress all these texture files. And that's the biggest thing, I think, for most of this stuff.
Okay. So the reason that I don't... there's two reasons I don't care about this delay. First reason is I am a big fan of Half-Life. And I don't believe in any video games. I don't think that any video game is real until it's in my hand, or I'm playing it, I should say, because now they're not in my hands anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing, is that the CD Projekt Red could have said, hey, we've changed our mind. We don't think this is good enough for your consumption. We have enough money to say, fuck it, let's keep going, and it'll be released sometime in the near future. And not even said like 2021. They could have said, we're not happy. And I'd be used to that because I'm an abused Valve housewife who is used to hearing, it's coming soon, it's coming, we're working on it. Then like hear nothing for 10 years.
Yeah. It's Cyberpunk is coming out way faster than Star Citizen.
3?
Yeah,
Star Citizen.
I don't know. You know what the smart money is now? Basically, like, is which one's going to come out first? Star Citizen. Well, probably Star Citizen because there's no development going on for any Half-Life 3. However, if there was for Half-Life 3, then it would still come out sooner than Star Citizen.
That's not entirely true, Alex.
Oh no, they got some.
Alex teased Half-Life 3 hardcore.
Are they getting the band back together?
They like rearranged the band. I'm not really happy with how Half-Life Alyx ended.
Did you play it?
I watched a Let's Play.
Okay, because it's VR only, correct?
Yeah, it's VR only, and I realized there was no scenario where I was going to buy. Even with my tax return, there was no scenario I was going to spend like $1,000 just to play one game, which still to this day is the only game that I have interest in playing is Half-Life Alyx.
Is it kind of like Half-Life 2 Episode 3 in a sense?
No, it's like Half-Life 2 Episode 0.
Okay.
Because it takes place mostly before
episode or Half-Life 2. Okay.
So the second part of that is that I just picked up The Outer Worlds on Steam.
Oh, because it's on sale.
Because it's on Steam and on sale for 50% off. And I started playing it, and I'm enjoying it. And I was thinking, because my best friend Alex, who is a very kind soul, bought me Cyberpunk as a gift. And
now I have to put the gift back in the closet where I hide all my Christmas cards.
So I was thinking, oh God, why did I buy this? Because now I'm invested in this game. I've got to like finish this, at least the main quest, by November 12th, 13th, I think was when 19th. 19th was when.
Now it's December 10th.
So I got plenty of time to make my way through the Outer Worlds before I have to, before I am able to become invested in Cyberpunk. So I've got plenty of time. So I'm not worried about Cyberpunk being delayed because I've got time to play a different game now.
And because it's Halloween, and I started playing Alien Isolation again.
I started playing that at work because it's one of the few Mac games that I can play at work.
Like what I've been playing in the middle of the day, and it's still kind of spooky because it's like the sound and everything like that.
It's a great looking game.
It is, yeah. People gave it a lot of crap, I noticed. I know the biggest critique was about the AI utilized for the Xenomorph, but honestly, it's the only Alien game that is anything that lives up to the actual franchise itself. Yeah. Everything else has been complete and utter garbage, and quite frankly. And Predator still can't get a fucking proper game, which is even sadder. So that there's that.
I don't know. Predator for NES was pretty terrible. But yes, you're right.
Yeah. Although the Predator versus Alien arcade game was actually really good. It was just a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but good luck trying to get that. Yeah.
I never played it, but the Predator versus Alien on Jaguar is allegedly a fairly solid game.
Yeah, I made the mistake of renting Alien vs. Predator for the Super Nintendo from Blockbuster, thinking it was a one-to-one port of the arcade version, and it was not. It was horrendous.
And it was not.
It was one of those kind of games where you were like, there was a kind of ports that were like pretty much exactly like they were in the arcade, and then there were the ones that were just like, oh, we made the home console version of it, and it was completely different, and it was this thing. It was so bad. But at the same time, I got the Alien thing, but then I saw that Kingdom Come Deliverance was on sale too, just like Outer Worlds. So I'm like, oh, I'll pick this up and play some medieval fun.
That seems like a game for you.
In the Czech Republic in the early 1400s.
How much was that?
I think it was like $29.99. Also, yeah, it was like a half price thing. Plus, it included like all the DLC and stuff. That's how I buy the stuff now. But unfortunately, unlike The Witcher, which I play exclusively in Polish, this one doesn't have a Czech voice track, which is kind of unfortunate because I really would prefer playing that in because I play Witcher and it's in Polish, but then it's got English subtitles. I would want to do Kingdom Come in Czech with English subtitles because I'm so used to playing the Yakuza games, which are only in Japanese as far as I know. I think they have an English dub. But it kind of it sets you in the mood a little bit more. But otherwise, they've got British voice actors doing it, so it's not too bad.
I'm gonna play something for you.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me if you recognize it, and if you do recognize it, what is it?
Is it just audio?
It's just audio.
Okay.
It's right here. It's clip.mp3.
Oh,
you can hear this.
Because the entire screen by itself.
Yep. You ready?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, play it one more time.
Do you recognize it?
It's not a commercial.
It is not a commercial. I suspect you've heard it, but you may not have.
I do remember this, but I'm trying to figure. God, my brain needs. I'm firing up my X drive here too. Is it from a computer program?
No. Well, kind of. It is not. It is not a computer program. No.
Is it
related
Apple?
to computer? No. I'll give you a hint. Apple. If this had an app, Apple would ban it immediately. Give up?
God, why do I know? Yeah, just tell me.
Okay, so I'm
going to be embarrassed that I don't remember it.
You might be embarrassed if you do remember it. So,
wait. Is this Newgrounds?
No.
Is it Flash?
No. It's okay, Alex. It's honestly, it's better for you and Erica
hentai
that you
game?
don't. No, that you don't remember, that you don't know what this is.
Okay.
So the reason that this became infamous is that apparently some kid in high school was suspended or expelled for playing that riff or whatever it's called, that little jingle,
Yeah.
because it is the Pornhub intro theme.
Pornhub has an actual intro theme?
Yeah.
Since
Do you ever watch Pornhub? Are you
I never
familiar?
I usually am I don't even pay attention to that part. My mind is too far gone about what happens after the fucking.
Okay, so the
Does it
reason
come
that I'm
on even if you have uBlock on? Oh,
Yeah.
you do have it. Okay.
Yeah, it's the intro.
Okay.
Well, this isn't
pre-roll.
Pornhub. This is YouTube. But
Wait, is that the kid boy plays Pornhub intro Black History Month program?
wait, where?
Right.
Oh no, I did. That was not what I was looking at. But
Play.
we'll look at that in a second.
Okay.
So the reason I bring this up is because of this tweet. We're a little behind. This is February that this happened.
Okay. When people could still socially distance or socially not distance. Or
Socially intimate?
Socially congregate.
So this is what this kid with a drum kit played. This kid with a drum kit played.
Is it because he started this? Oh, it shouldn't be his. Okay, it's not his fault. Everybody else acted like a fucking nitwit on this thing, and they all apparently know the intro for Pornhub.
Okay, well that's what I'm getting at. There's one of the things that I'm interested in is that if you look at the incredibly pixelated, terrible footage.
God, who they
that's a
record
dude.
this on
That's a
Nokia?
dude. That's a dude. That's a dude.
Okay,
these are all dudes.
Okay,
these are all
it's
dudes.
our high school.
These are all high school guys. And then what I love, it's a high school guy, clearly. What I love, there's the girl who has no idea what the fuck is going on.
It's beautiful.
And that's what I find beautiful is
The
that
one girl.
the entire gymnasium of high school boys recognize the Pornhub theme. And this woman looks like she's like, look at that brow. Even pixelated.
Perfect
She's like,
180-degree brow.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And it's
Jingles
not
that
like,
women will never understand.
Exactly. Like, look at her.
I don't
Even
even
her
remember-
body
I can't even
language.
recall it.
Even her body language is like, what's going on? Why is everyone freaking out? I'm so uncool. So the bigger issue, Alex, the reason I brought this entire thing up was, is it a little concerning that the entire gymnasium of young men recognize the Pornhub theme?
No.
No, I agree.
Because I'm pretty sure they would. It's kind of like back in our day when we were younger. It would have been like in some noticing the whole bow chicka wow wow type of thing. Everybody knows that. Even girls.
Yes.
Even
Thank
Erica's
you.
done that thing. We all
Thank
know
you,
it.
Alex.
I think the reaction to it is the thing that got a little. I think that's why the guy got in trouble.
Alex, that is a very astute observation. That jingle, the little Pornhub thing, is now the bow chicka wow wow that everyone does. I mean, like, they'll put it into kids' shows now. They'll do the little guitar riff thing just to imply that someone's attracted to someone. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even considered pornographic anymore. And so to punish a student over a little guitar bit, or not guitar bit, drum thing.
Yeah.
I don't know the words for this stuff. But it's just like, let high schoolers like do their shit. Like, you gotta give high school kids a fair degree of leverage, but not too much.
Yeah, to let them do stupid stuff because they just need an out to do
Because it's
silly, stupid stuff.
Because it's fun. Like, don't forget who you were.
Yeah, I also want to know how do they go about finding out why these kids freaked out about this or freaked over this thing? Because there's probably a bunch of teachers there that know that riff, and when they had to haul in some of them for questioning, they were probably like, "Yeah, it's from Pornhub," and then it's like, but like I said again, it's like the kid on the drum should not get in trouble for the way that the rest of them reacted.
He shouldn't get in trouble because the teachers know what Pornhub is.
Exactly. And it's just like in getting mad. I mean, it's a silly, stupid thing. I mean, he's pretty much at home right now too, probably doing his Skype, Zoom schooling anyways, and he's playing drums all he wants and stuff like that. So
yeah, so the COVID teen that was jerking off to Pornhub can't go to high school like a good American boy, and Justin Turner from the Los Angeles Dodgers apparently isn't allowed to celebrate with his teammates when they win the fucking World Series.
Yeah, because he tested positive for the covfefe in the middle of the game. What inning did they?
I forgot about covfefe.
Or was it just everybody did? He got the test results back saying that he was positive or something like that halfway through the game or something, which he was sitting out, and then during the celebrations he came out there on the field without a mask and was celebrating with the rest of the team. That's as far as I know, and everybody's getting upset about it and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, you do realize they won the World Series and it's the last game of the season, which has been pretty fucking terrible season.
Also, he's asymptomatic. Also,
So it's just stop being a fucking douche about some of this stuff already.
Okay, so he played to the 7th inning, got taken out, 2 innings away from winning the World Series after 7 years with the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
They win.
Yeah.
He goes out on the field. Yeah. Everyone loses their shit.
I don't think did any of his teammates out there fucking lose their shit? No, nobody cares.
They don't fucking care.
It's like the fucking Tatis a grand slam from the earlier this year. It's just people are freaking out about stupid, and that had nothing to do with COVID or anything. It was just another stupid thing of people being fucking busybodies with some bullshit unwritten rule or whatever that many players in the league don't even know about. This is something you're caught up in the moment.
I appreciate that you're still angry about that.
I'm still rooting for Tatis. Tatis is like the Padres are nowhere near the Cubs in terms of geographic or winning or whatever the fucking thing is. I mean, completely off the radio.
Are they in the same league? Literally?
Same league, different conference, different division.
Gotcha.
But it's a young, because I think Tatis was in the running for like maybe MVP or something like that. Yeah. He was running for some award this year, I think.
He's really fun. Like he's what baseball needs. He's like
young.
He's the early Michael Jordan of baseball.
Yeah. And he goes to, and like Jordan, he's on a team that nobody's going to give fucking two thoughts about him doing or changing anything.
He's
just
21.
Like Jordan
He's 21 years old.
Yeah, he's got everything ahead of him and stuff. Like just like Jordan, he went to the Bulls. Nobody thought anything was going to happen to Bulls, and then guess what? You and I get to enjoy, an entire decade of some of the best basketball we'll ever see in our lives for the team we support. And it's the same for this. Hopefully they'll get some other guys there, but don't fucking ruin this kid's spirit. And which is funny because we're both 37. I'm referring to a 21-year-old as a kid, and I can technically do that.
Yeah. You are within your rights, yes.
This kid is he's got everything ahead of him. Just like don't kind of put this burden on him, because if you start saying this, so then the next situation comes up. Is he going to fucking shit on somebody else because he's saying, "Oh, you should have taken that strike because you were in the situation." Blah blah blah. No. It's baseball is still. I still feel like baseball is, in a sense, still kind of finally finishing up all the shit that happened back from the player strike back in 94, 95, whatever that season was, and then all the steroid scandal and everything like that. They're finally over that hump where they can finally become, back to being America's pastime type of sport because of the situation with the other three sports.
Baseball's a little bit more pure because of how simple it is.
Right.
Like you can get into the nuance of baseball or whatever, but like overall, it's still like a summer evening. Having I was saying Miller, but a Budweiser, watching the Cubs. It's just feels so comfy. Hey Alex, do you know what time it is?
No.
It is 10:12 p.m. on October 28th.
Oh, it's time for Professor Alex's fascinating factoids and other such trivia.
I'm ready to receive your enlightenment all over my face.
Very interesting. Our first factoid deals with amusement parks. And it talks about the Cannon Coaster, which opened in 1902 at Coney Island. It's significant because it was designed as the first attempt to make a Leap the Gap roller coaster. A Leap the Gap roller coaster was basically... No. Yeah, it's as crazy as it was. 1902, they really didn't fucking care about people, and Ralph Nader wasn't born yet for 2 more months. The Leap the Gap coaster was unique in which there was a section of the track that actually had a space in it, in which the cars would basically, in effect, have to jump over take this leap over this gap in there, kind of as a thrill, exhilaration of it. However, due to safety testing fails, the idea was basically scrapped, and the coaster never came to fruition for people to ride.
After 24 monkeys died riding the coaster.
Monkeys. And one 3-legged sheep.
Also, one particularly ugly baby.
Yes, we weren't quite certain if it was a baby or a shaved chimpanzee, but
why not both?
Why not both? Our second fascinating factoid continues regards to the year 1916, and 1916 was when an elephant known as Murderous Mary, which was a 5-ton Asian elephant.
This is a sad story, Alex.
Sorry.
What are you doing?
There's going to be an uptick. Murdering Mary was performing with the Sparks world-famous circus. However, in 1916, she ended up mauling to death her keeper, who was there on his second day of work in Kingsport, Tennessee, in which then she ended up being hung for her crime by utilization of an actual crane.
What is the uptick in this?
Our third fascinating factoid is...
Alex, you son of a bitch.
Regarding a... No, it's fine. Amethyst, which is a violet-colored quartz...
Wait, Alex. No, Alex. Professor Alex, we usually discuss little pieces of your factoids. The hanging of Murderous Mary, that was her name, is an abomination, but also
it was 1916.
As it's an articulation of 1916.
Yes,
that image is horrifying.
Yes, especially since it's black and white.
It shows how far we've come as a species.
We no longer in the street
in Hawaii. We no longer believe that we should execute an animal for
There are certain, and you know very well that there are certain scenarios in which they are kind of
but it's not it's not a spectacle. That's the thing. You don't sell tickets to the euthanasia.
Oh, the euthanasia. Okay, I thought you meant the reason why the animal would be euthanized. Factoid number 3: amethyst, which is a violet-colored variety of quartz, was long ago believed by the ancient Greeks to be a stone that contained special properties which protected its owner from the effects of drunkenness.
I could use some amethyst right now.
Ooh, That was this week's fascinating factoids and other such trivia.
Well, thank you, Professor Alex. I feel like my brain has gained another wrinkle.
Excellent.
Another fold.
Now we can use the potatoes as batteries. Or volcanoes. Do you know what I was pissed off about when I was a kid and we had science fairs at school? I always wanted to do the fucking volcano. And finally got to 8th grade. 8th grade, I was like, I'm going to do the fucking volcano. I never got to do the volcano before, but I'm going to do this awesome volcano. And my plan for the volcano was actually going to be a bisection of it, in which
Nice.
I would actually kind of build like this frame and show like the various channels of the lava. And like, basically, if we were going to do like the whole, exploding thing, I would have had like the food dye in there and then have the chemicals and then kind of show what it looks like when it's erupting and having little things. And guess what fucking happened? They decide that year was the year where there were finally going to be no more volcano experiments because everybody does a volcano experiment. And I got fucking pissed off. It's fucking bullshit. And I did I think that year I did like seventh grade. I had some it was something I went to like some science fair thing. It's Museum of Science and Industry. It was some state thing based upon my paper or something like that. I did about like hand mechanics or something like that, fine motor skills and stuff. And then I think I got so pissed off because of the volcano thing the following year in 8th grade, I just did some lazy fucking thing going like, what's more dense and what's more buoyant, using water, oil, and honey as like different types of. And it was so less. I think I did it like the night before. Alex. It was. I was just so fucking pissed. It was just such bullshit. I should have been like, let's talk about the 4 seasons of the year. What are some characteristics? I was like, fuck this shit. I want to get out of here and go to Marmon. I was ready to get out of there and go to high school.
Okay, so like on a scale of 0 to 4 pots of gold, Alex.
Yeah.
What do you give your high school experience?
I'd give it a 3.5.
Are you kidding me? What
No.
the fuck? Where was I for this?
You were hiding in the bathroom, popping caffeine pills and reading Cooper bios.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty fucking accurate.
But I say that in a loving manner.
It all worked.
But it's good. It worked out well. We go to Cubs games together.
It all worked out in the end.
Whenever they let people back into Wrigley.
You know what else worked out in the end?
What worked out in the end, bud?
Hasbro and Toei.
Oh yeah, Toei. So yeah, I don't know how many people follow Power Rangers or any type of tokusatsu shows, which pretty much at this point it's just Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and Power Rangers, or Super Sentai as they call them there. But I've liked them ever since I started watching them back in like '93, I think is when they brought over the US version. But apparently there is some big rumblings in the world of Power Rangers, specifically with Hasbro possibly wanting to cut ties with the production company Toei, which is best known for Godzilla, which also produces, I believe, both Kamen Rider and Power Rangers in Japan. Now, what's funny that you might ask this is like, why is Hasbro cutting ties with the parent company of Super Sentai? And it is basically due to the fact that Hasbro, a number of years ago, ended up purchasing the rights to Power Rangers, the U.S. version, the U.S. licensing rights from Haim Saban, who was the original guy who brought over the program to the U.S. There's kind of some weird stipulation or weird reasons as to why exactly they want to do that and stuff like that. And basically is that Hasbro kind of wants to start going on their own in terms of trying to branch out the Power Rangers on their own domestic soil here in the US. And one of the biggest things for that is that they would want to basically no longer utilize the stock footage of the Power Rangers Japanese version, which if you, for people who don't know this, is that when they originally started bringing over the show from Japan, the actual whenever they're morphed and they're in their suits and all the robot fight scenes, that's all the stock footage from the Japanese show. Whenever they're outside of their costumes or they might have their helmets on, then that's the more domestically version. And originally they were kind of like they were airing programs from like a year prior of the original series as to when they're actually doing the show now or in the current time. So the Power Rangers that we grew up with, which were Mighty Morphin, they were using footage from I think it's Zoryu Ranger or Zoryo Ranger, which was like a year and a half prior. And that's how it was always done up until a number of years ago when they started to do it simultaneously in terms of broadcasting in the US and in Japan. But since they can just get the footage, within like a day, it was a lot easier. And a lot of this also has to do with the fact that Hasbro is trying to, they own a lot of things, which, and they also have a lot of licensing to many different things, including Marvel and Star Wars. So a lot of those types of licensing IPs have been kind of, The one thing that they do own a lot of is Power Rangers. So they're kind of wanting to hopefully be able to try to revitalize the Power Rangers franchise here in the States and try to make money off of it, including new comics, new programs. Supposedly they might even, there's rumor that they want to bring in Alex Kurtzman from Star Trek. I know that's the worst part. I mean, I don't know if they're going to go through with it, but and who better to do that than somebody who's been working on recent Trek shows like Picard.
More importantly, Alex, did you see that Austin St. John reappeared on Power Rangers Beast Morphers?
Yes. And they're trying to bring back a lot of the old actors. St. John was on there.
Where's Tommy?
Tommy is very involved in this. He has appeared on various shows as like the Green Ranger or White Ranger, whatever fucking version he is. I was never a fan of Tommy.
Alex, okay. Oh,
No.
No. This is a point of contention for the two of us, though.
Yes.
Because I was going to ask you, what is the most iconic version of Tommy from the Power Rangers?
Green Ranger.
I disagree. It's White Ranger for me.
They did this fucking weird
was
thing. They combined the green with the white in the comics or something, and they basically make him into like a Power Ranger god. Well, here's the thing. The Red Ranger is always the leader of the Power Rangers. Hands down.
Hey, motherfucker doesn't have a talking sword. I don't care about him.
He didn't have a talking sword when he was the Green Ranger, so whatever. Anyways.
He had a flute, though. I remember that I remember the 2-part episode when the White Ranger was announced, and they unceremoniously kicked Austin St. John / the Red Ranger off the management squad.
Yeah, he got demoted.
And they were like, "This is Tommy. He is now the White Ranger. Also, he is now the official leader of the Power Rangers." And they cut to the Red Ranger, and he's just like has this sad smile on because Tommy was way more popular.
That's the problem, and he was way too. And basically, that's kind of all he's done since.
He was like the Sasuke of Power Rangers.
It's true. But in the Japanese version, it's more like the Green Ranger is like his equal, but the Red Ranger is still the leader because the characters are actually brothers in the Japanese version and stuff.
In the Japanese version. No, I actually respect that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's
whereas I only have the Power Rangers as a reference point.
Yeah, and I think that's what most people know. I mean, a lot of people that are our age kind of stopped watching Power Rangers, I think, after the second season or something like that.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing if you watched after the second season.
Yeah, because then they started going to because then they were trying to figure out how do we bring the Japanese version here and try to, kind of make it appeal to Western taste. Because there's one series, which is, I think, Reshu Sentai Tokyuger, which is actually a train-themed Power Rangers show. Like, every single series, there's a certain theme, and their powers are based upon trains. But there's an Orange Ranger on that show, which is very interesting. But, they introduced, certain, color rangers that are, special rangers, but the Red Ranger is still in charge. It's always been the Red Ranger.
I really appreciate how into Super Sentai series you are, because
you don't care one way or another.
I don't have that, but that it's like a weeb offshoot thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I have an offshoot from anime that really qualifies the way that your appreciation of Super Sentai does. Like, I like Sentai, and I have, like, I remember when I was into Power Rangers going to Graham Crackers Comics in Chicago and buying the Japanese toys from Super Sentai because I liked Power Rangers.
Yeah.
So that's my connection with that. But you went even into Kamen Rider,
Yeah.
which is like you're like now we're getting into offshoots.
Yeah. Well, Kamen Rider actually existed. I believe he existed prior.
Here we go.
To
Here we go.
Sorry. Well, this is Well, the interesting thing about Hasbro is that Power Rangers in the U.S. there was a period of time for like I think it was like 7 or 8 years. Walt Disney Company actually owned Power Rangers.
How embarrassing!
Yeah, because Saban actually sold and I remember this because it was really weird. That when I was a kid, and we went to MGM Studios, they had like a Ninja Turtles live show back in the 90s, which was similar to like their coming out of their shell music tour thing that they did, in the US. But I think it was like in 06 or 07, we went there on vacation, and my brother and I saw that the Power Ranger, I think it was RPM, was that the show or Time? It was something like that. I remember what series, but it was a picture of, like, the Power Rangers. They're in a car and they're taking photos. I'm like, my brother and I took a photo with the Pink Ranger, and I was like, this is so weird. It's like, What are the Power Rangers? Yeah, I know. But then, and I found out that basically they were showing them on like ABC Saturday mornings and like Disney Jetix, which was some programming thing, and then they sold back to Saban because I guess Saban sold, and now they've been showing them on like Nickelodeon and stuff, and he's ended up selling them to like Hasbro, which supposedly a lot of people are saying that there was a rumor that Disney was going to just buy out Hasbro, which they're not doing anything like that.
That's a whole other, yeah. I mean, VR Troopers I actually enjoyed a little bit more than Power Rangers because it was like grittier.
Yeah, which was, I think, Metal Warriors, I think was what it was based upon. Fascinating fact to let you know, VR Troopers and Beetleborgs were actually the same show in Japan. They basically split them up into 2 separate shows.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, because I think Beetleborgs was like in Power Rangers when they get it's very Japanese. Like, you get the more powerful version, like Naruto Shippuden. Everybody's older and they have more powers and stuff like that. It was similar to that, where I think the Beetleborgs was like the VR Troopers power up version. They got better powers and technology and stuff like that.
Speaking of Japanese media, dearest of all my friends.
Yes.
You and I watched the 1984 film Lensman this week. Because we are on a weird path. We're in a weird Japanese anime from the 70s and 80s that is not necessarily good. It's just old.
Yeah.
Kick.
Yeah.
I mean, after Yamato, Yamato was like a fine space epic. But it's a little hard for modern sensibilities. It's a little It's good. It's very good. But it's still a little
Yeah.
And I kind of felt the same way about Lensman.
Yeah. Which came out after, or it's
10,
more recent.
10 years later.
Yeah.
It's like 1984 for Lensman, I think like 1977 for Yamato.
Yeah, Yamato.
Alex, would you like to summarize Lensman, or shall I?
Lensman is basically the story of it's a young boy who's called Kim, who basically finds a space traveler who crash lands on his home planet, and gives him some special device that embeds itself into his hand, and basically tells him that he needs to go and like defeat these aliens that are trying to destroy the universe, which is what they It's basically the Japanese. We're trying to copy Star Wars without being overtly obvious. In themes only.
So here's the thing. Yes. In themes only. The thing is that this is technically an adaptation of the 1950s novel series Lensman.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying Lensman because that's how the Japanese pronounced it. I would say Lensman, but
there's only one Lensman. I mean, the original Lensman dies, but
no, there's two. We'll get into this.
Yeah.
Okay. So this Lensman is a novel series from the late 1940s through the late 1950s.
Written by E.E. Smith, who is a food engineer specializing in donuts.
Doctor. He's the
and pastry mixes.
The doc.
Well, I guess you have nothing. He's also from Sheboygan, so you got to do something in your life.
But so, the reputation for this novel series that I've read, I have not read the novels. I have only read the interpretation of the novels. But they, attribute Star Wars, Green Lantern, a bunch of shit, a bunch of contemporary science fiction comic book stuff is, apparently traces back to these novels. Like I said, we've never read them.
No.
Frankly, I don't give a fuck.
No.
Because even if that's true, Lensman borrows heavily from Star Wars and the narrative structure of Star Wars. And yet, I find it very charming. So it's as Alex was saying, it's the kid gets an ability from someone from far away and embarks on an amazing adventure to save the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But the details of that experience are significantly different from Star Wars. The characters are all archetypes from Star Wars.
Right.
Blatantly. You've got Chewbacca, you've got Luke Skywalker, you've got Princess Leia right down to the hair.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a little bit his father. Yeah, his father I would say would be the Han Solo character. This is a wonderful 80s version of 50s pop literature. Specifically because of how wonderful the creature designs are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The creatures in this film do not feel like anime characters.
They feel more like straight sci-fi type of characters.
It's very Western sci-fi character design.
Yeah. Even the animation.
Which I was Yeah.
Yeah, the actual the way that the humans are actually drawn are a very strong Western look. The main character himself kind of looks like an older version of the main character kid from Transformers, which was also done by a Japanese animation company. It was there was that certain type of style where they did try to make him more Western looking instead of the traditional Japanese style, I guess, to kind of describe it.
I felt this film was very charming because of how urgent the animation quality was. There was a distinctive sincerity to how well done the mechanical designs are and the the chase scenes.
Yeah, the chase scenes are very good.
Yeah, it's I was so last night, 2 nights ago, super tired, got on the couch at 11 o'clock, feeling very kind of put upon. I'm oh, I gotta watch this fucking anime. And then I hit the mouse and it's been an hour. And I think, oh, this is what it's like to have fun. Mm-hmm. This isn't like me trying to figure out a bigger meaning or anything like that. It's just this is pure entertainment with no interest in a bigger storyline.
It's just a straightforward adventure movie.
Yeah. Frankly, the story's kind of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel that way?
In terms of like the whole
Like
lens thing.
Plot development. So like Darth Vader murders in order his top 3 people.
Yeah, that's the thing I never quite understood, because it's like he basically knows if they're lying to him, because
he's just like you. Yeah.
Yeah, killing off your underlings is never a good sign in anything for
it's
villains.
Lazy. It's lazy.
It reminds me of what is that? Like stereotypical villains in movies do is kill off their underlings, and it's something that always bodes bad. It's like you shouldn't do that, because a good quality messenger even that brings you bad news, you shouldn't take it out on him. It was like always this shtick and stuff like the archetype. But yeah, he just like kills all of them, and then there's always like the new guy who's gonna take over. And is like, hey, I won't fail you, boss. And then he doesn't really fail him, but the boss is he just doesn't want fail.
Well, then he kills the flying one too for no reason.
Yeah, well, the flying one was just annoying and stuff like that. Which he should have killed him in the beginning.
He could have killed him in the first, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So my impression of this is that it's not a great anime film, but if you enjoy 80s retro animation style, there's like a lot to enjoy in this.
Yeah.
Because it has, and especially if you like Yoshiaki Kawajiri, who we've discussed before.
Yeah.
Demon City Shinjuku, Wicked City, and Ninja Scroll director.
Because I think this was like his first solo one or something, or like his earliest one.
It's his first film as director.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching it thinking, I'm not seeing a lot of Yoshiaki, like future Yoshiaki Kawajiri in this film. And then the fanciful old man showed up. And I thought,
there's Kawajiri himself.
There's Kawajiri in this film. Now I see the trajectory where this is going to go, where he cannot let go of this humorous, comedical, comedical? Is that a word? Comical. Comedic, and I combined comedical and comical. Yeah.
The Chable.
Comical. Hi, my name is Rich Evans. Welcome to Culture Doom. He can't let go of this comical old man trope that he's been doing for a while. So, if you like Yoshiaki Kawajiri, you will find a lot to appreciate from this. If you like 80s anime, you'll find a lot like genuine cell animation. You'll find a lot that you can appreciate. If you are a Zoomer who has no appreciation for genuine hand-painted fucking cells
and only like Sword Art Online.
What? I don't understand what I'm looking at. Get the fuck out of here. Okay, I'm done. Alex, what did you think of Lensman?
It was. It was like you said. It was early Kawajiri, so there was still, there were signs there of greatness that would come eventually and stuff. But it was. There were some parts where there was some kind of growing pains that would need to be done. The story was very. I never really understood like what the whole point of like the Lensman's purpose was.
It doesn't come to anything.
Yeah, like the lens, because what did I can't recall. Did the lens do anything?
No,
it just talks to him from time to time.
Yes, it summons the actual hero of the film, which is the lizard guy.
Yeah,
who has the ability to fly.
Yeah, and he has like he has like the holsters that can like pivot and shoot lasers and stuff.
I was waiting for our main hero, Kim, to do something heroic, and he never fucking does. It's so bad. Meanwhile, Worcester, the flying lizard. No, Warsaw. Sorry, Warsaw. Because I realized that if you turned the W upside down, it said morsel. So...
Yeah, and then like the villain himself is he's just like a energy source. Like he's like a electrical creature.
I liked that his ship was alive.
Like biomechanically, yeah.
Yeah, I liked that part of that where they were like, "Oh, the ship's dying, we can leave." I thought that was pretty cool.
So, Brendan, what do you give Lensman?
Lensman, I would give 3 out of 4 pots of gold. It's very fun, but not very good. If you enjoy anime history, you'll get a lot out of it. If you do not give a fuck about that shit, stick to Attack on Titan, and you'll be very happy. Alex, what do you think?
I give Lensman 2.5 out of 4 pots of gold. While it's simple and it does what it needs to do, some people might find it a bit lacking. Like we said, it is a Kawajiri, but don't go into it thinking that you're going to be getting Ninja Scroll Kawajiri. You're going to get Lensman Kawajiri, but it's still
That's true. That's fair.
It to enjoy something that's actually from a particular time in anime history, especially that mid 80s time period. You might enjoy it, but keep your senses logical.
It's not incompetent. It's just not very good.
Yes.
So
be prepared to subvert your expectations.
3 out of 4 for me for Lensman, and 2.5 out of 4 for Alex. Either way, I think you should still check it out if you care about historical animation and in anime in particular. But Alex, do you know what time it is?
Professor Alex, to say bye-bye for this episode? Or time to wrap it up?
I think it's time to wrap it up.
Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Culture Doom. We enjoy everything and anything that people want to send us, some email or comments, contact@culturedoom.com. If you feel like it, please do. This was episode 326 on behalf of Brendan. This is Alex saying Dopobachinya, as always. Eighth grade, I was like, I'm going to do the fucking volcano. I never got to do the volcano before, but I'm going to do this awesome volcano. And guess what fucking happened? They decide that year was the year where there were finally going to be no more volcano experiments because everybody does a volcano experiment. And I got fucking pissed off. It's fucking bullshit.